Conversation this morning with Mark Hilliard from the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber President joins us today. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Todd.
It's good to have you with us here today. Different kind of a topic. We're actually talking about getting back in business instead of slowing it down. How about that?
Yeah, thankfully we're in this phase at this point in time where we can actually start looking ahead, although we've been trying to do that for a few weeks now. But we're talking about finally reopening the county, and it probably is a couple of weeks too late, but I'm happy we're at least talking about it now.
Well, let's put it from a couple of different perspectives. From the perspective of the business owner, has there been adequate state guidance on what needs to be done in each of these businesses? Because remember, many of them you were told you got to shut down today, so they haven't even been in their businesses,
yeah.
And yet they're going to have to open up. So let's start there.
Well, I'd love to tell you yes, but I don't think that would be accurate. They have provided a number of guidelines. Now, I stress the word guidelines because that is not a mandate, and that's where a lot of the confusion, I think, is coming from. Because when they shut down, they were pretty clear cut on how they needed to shut things down. But now, as we're opening back up, there's a lot of gray area. But we know what the guidelines are, and we're trying to instruct businesses. Do their best. I guess I hate to say it like that, but try to do their best. Follow the guidelines. There are some clear-cut rules in place, but there is still a lot of gray area. But we want businesses to try to follow things as best they can. We have guidelines that are posted from the CDC as well as OSHA. Those are going to be coming out in the bulletin that we have coming out today. But we've been getting that information out there as best we can. But it is a little tricky, and I understand the confusion out there from a lot of businesses.
All right, so the clear-cut guidelines, I would assume, would be masks and social distancing, things of that nature, protective shields between customers and employees?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe not so clear.
I don't know if that was necessarily clear-cut. That follows under the CDC guidelines, the recommendations. Mm-hmm. I would strongly recommend all businesses to wear masks and to try to keep that 6 feet social distancing in place. So the more clear cut are no gatherings over 24 people or 25. I said over 24 people, so 25 or more. So businesses have asked about well, do I have to limit the number of people who come into my store and is it based on square footage? None of that is to my knowledge a mandate. It's just simply. And I think for most of our small businesses, unless you're a restaurant or a grocery store or something like that, you're not going to have more than 24 people in your store at once. So if it comes to that point, that's where they have to start really cutting back and finding ways to make people wait outside. But practice the social distancing while you're in your store. As far as restaurants, unfortunately, there's still just curbside pickup or takeout. There is no eating at the restaurant, even outdoor eating, from my understanding, that cannot happen. It still has to be curbside or takeout. So those are more of the clear-cut areas. Child care is open, but they have to practice the guidelines as well. So any of the child care facilities that we have throughout the county, those are open now, but they do have to practice. And unfortunately, like places like gyms and movie theaters, those things are still closed down during the yellow phase.
Hair salons too, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's one. That's another one of those
gray areas.
Yeah, I think for a lot of businesses, what they have to do is just try to look at those guidelines. I've heard of different businesses planning on trying to limit the number of people who come in. Unfortunately, the Indiana Mall still closed down, although I believe Kohl's and Harbor Freight would be opened up. But they're not allowing the Indiana Mall to open up or retail shopping centers. But they still allow some of the other places to open up. So that's where I think a lot of frustration comes with businesses. Why is so-and-so allowed to open, but I'm not? And that's where I think we could have used a whole lot more guidance from the state in terms of why they went about things the way that they did. We have to live with it. There's no use complaining about it because it's not going to get us anywhere. But from our standpoint, we have a couple of very good representatives at the state level with Senator Pittman, Representative Struzzi, and they're certainly voicing their frustrations and doing what they can to help our local businesses from that level. We can't do that. The businesses can't do that. Complaining's not going to get you anywhere, and I understand everyone's frustration, but the biggest thing we can do is just follow the guidelines as best we can. And, the good thing is we're able to start moving towards reopening the county coming Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. I think everybody's going to be looking forward to getting out of the house a little bit. But it is easing back into it. So there still are certain guidelines in place that we have to follow. And we strongly recommend practicing social distancing, even with your employees, wearing masks. Most businesses are requiring people to wear a mask when they will come in on Friday. That is a guideline. Again, I have not seen that as being a mandate anywhere, but we're recommending businesses try to follow that as best that they can. And if they have any questions, to contact us. We'll try to guide them in the best direction that we can as well.
I know there's exasperation with a lot of people, county officials in some other counties as well, and business people that are going to go ahead and open up. And the governor pushed back very strongly yesterday. Yeah. Thursday had the insurance department come out and issue a statement threatening people. And then the governor came and he called people cowards for opening up their businesses, and particularly county officials in Beaver County and some of those other counties that say we should be yellow as well. He said it's cowardly. And I know that as a business organization, you don't want to get into that fray, but it is interesting at the very least to see how people are pushing back and then the government pushes back on them. And unfortunately, the business community gets stuck in the middle in between these two different groups that are pushing.
Correct, and I'm going to bite my tongue on some of those comments. But, it's difficult because I understand exactly why businesses are feeling like that, and why a lot of these county officials from other counties are feeling like that. We truly believe we should have been opened up sooner than this based on the initial guidelines for shutting down. But, I think Senator Pittman said it best, where he's kind of moving the goalposts on us a little bit. So we have to work with what we're given, and we can't sit here and I can't speak for the commissioners, but I know they feel this way. We can't come out and say, well, we're going to do this no matter what. Because that's a risky proposition. And the last thing we want is for any businesses to have to lose their certificate of occupancy or be penalized in any other way because of something that we recommended. So we have to follow the guidelines. We have to follow this as best we can. Like I said, we work with what we're given. I recommend the businesses do the same. I understand the frustration. Believe me, we all do. We've had multiple conversations internally and with our state legislators in terms of what's going on, and I can tell you they're as frustrated as anybody. But just because certain counties are taking actions in a certain way doesn't mean we can. We're trying to do what is truly best for the county and what's best for our business community. And sometimes that's not, being very vocal about things, but trust me, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we are working on to try to take care of our business community as best we can.
Mark Hilliard from the Chamber of Commerce with us. I think it's important for folks to understand as well is that because a business can open up doesn't mean that they're going to, and it's probably wise from a consumer standpoint to check and be sure before you head out to a place because you just don't know.
Yes, and I think what is going to come from all this is I think there are going to be a lot. I don't want to say a new normal because I don't particularly like that phrase, but I do think there are going to be changes in the way people do business in the future, and I think that this whole experience is going to create opportunities for businesses to do business in a different way, whether that's do more online or offer different opportunities or modified options in order to support their business. I think some of that is going to come and take place because of all of this. What we're going to try to do as well in the future is find ways to educate the businesses on how they can take advantage of some of those other opportunities that don't involve face-to-face transactions. And I think there are opportunities for that. But at the same time, certainly we've seen it over the past, 7, 8 weeks that those face-to-face opportunities, without those, it's definitely costing these businesses a lot of revenue. It's costing, taking a major hit to our Indiana County economy. So most businesses that are able to open up, I think they are going to open up unless they have staffing issues. But yes, you want to be careful. You want to make sure you do your homework. Look at what businesses are opening. We certainly continue to guide people to Indiana County Shop Local on Facebook. That group is a couple of thousand people that have done a good job of businesses posting what they are offering, and I know a lot of people use that for Mother's Day, what just happened over the weekend, but Mother's Day dinners and things like that were offered takeout. So for the restaurant community, that's a good opportunity to keep looking at that site to be able to keep up to date on what some of these places are offering.
Just a couple of moments left with Mark Hilliard from the Chamber of Commerce. So the guidance hasn't been as clear, but it's one of those situations where every day there's new guidance coming out, and hopefully it becomes a clearer picture for us all. So you're recommending what in terms of checking in? Check in with the Chamber of Commerce website. Is that our best option?
Yeah, if you haven't gotten on Facebook, I'd like us on Facebook. If you haven't subscribed to the Indiana County Road to Recovery, contact us, and you can do that through Facebook or contact our office or email us. We can take care of that. In terms of the basic guidance, no gatherings of more than 25 people. Restaurants and bars still carry out and delivery, the indoor recreation, those facilities, personal care services, those are still closed, unfortunately. But everything else is open. Try to follow the guidelines as best you can, and those places where I mentioned, you can find that information in those places, whether it's social media or on the website. But if you have any questions, please contact our office, and I know a lot of places are offering that. Contact us. We'll guide you as best we can. It's not all clear-cut, but do your best to follow it, and hey, we're open and back up. So it's not as easy as we would like it to be, but it's happening.
Come Friday, the traffic will begin moving again, maybe slower than we'd like, but it will be moving.
Yeah, and I want to make sure to mention, too, Indiana Borough has extended their parking grace, so first hour of parking will be free during the yellow phase. So thanking Indiana Borough for doing their part as well.
Good stuff. Mark Hilliard, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Todd.
Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people.